Police in Colorado are detaining more kids under 18 for violent crimes.
A few years after the pandemic, more than 170 kids were admitted to a youth detention facility for homicide or manslaughter. Pre-pandemic, it was fewer than 70 kids in a year. 9 News Investigates' Kelly Rinke takes a look at why more young people are resorting to violence.
And so, what did you tell me about your evening? What did you do? Like, kind of give me a timeline of your evening with your friends.
You're watching the first few moments of a homicide investigation.
Well, somebody had a gun. Who shot somebody?
One of my friends.
First few moments that took place in a grandmother's kitchen.
Some of the people you're hanging with have issues with the person who was killed last night.
Brighton police interviewed a 16-year-old kid about a shooting that killed a 17-year-old boy.
And are you right-handed or left-handed?
I'm right.
Jonah Graham quickly became a suspect. Investigators swabbed the high schooler for gunshot residue and took full body pictures for evidence.
Can you turn to your right, please?
The next day, police arrested him for first-degree murder. We're sharing this video because Jonah was charged as an adult and pleaded guilty to second-degree murder.
It has a picture of you with guns.
Okay, that's not anything to do with the case, though.
Yeah, it is.
How, if it's not?
There was a guy killed last night.
Okay, that wasn't me, though.
Prosecutors said in the summer of 2022, Jonah went to Ken Mitchell Park. That's where he saw Josiah Gonzalez eating pizza with a friend.
And that's when he was shot in the face, and 2 other times when he was on the ground.
2 grandmothers lost their grandsons in one night, but Tricia Powell will never have a chance to see hers again.
It just takes me back to the whole thing when I got the phone call and just not believing it.
Police say Jonah and Josiah were fighting at the park before Jonah pulled the trigger.
It just seems like every day you wake up and get on the news, it's 2, 3, 4, 5 shootings.
Just within the last hour, we've learned that 3 15-year-olds are facing charges in a murder and carjacking.
Both of the boys killed in a backyard this weekend were armed.
And they're all juveniles, and it just needs to stop.
Prosecutors in Denver have charged a 13-year-old with murder.
Police say one boy had a machete while the other had a handgun.
The boy is being charged as a juvenile.
Each crime scene highlights a bigger problem in Colorado. Police are taking more kids under 18 to youth detention facilities for violent crime. In fiscal year 2019 to 2020, 91 juveniles were admitted to detention for homicide and manslaughter charges. By fiscal year 2022 to 2023, it jumped to 172 kids.
And if you look at some of these homicide case characteristics, these are ingrained disputes. And a lot of them are retaliatory. A fight from one neighborhood bleeds over to another neighborhood.
David Pyruz is a criminologist and professor at CU Boulder. His research points to the pandemic as one of the reasons for the increase in youth violence.
The United States went through, you could almost think about it like a double whammy of a stress test, and between COVID and between Floyd. And those things really came together to put a lot of stressors on our institutions. And when all of those things start to fall apart, it makes it really difficult to be able to constrain some of these impulses that kids have and how they solve their problems.
I think about what the families have to go through. It's not easy. It's holidays, birthdays.
Tricia shares grief with hundreds of other families because kids killed or tried to kill other kids.
We have him associated with some friends that are associated with the boy who's dead. And it's a very serious thing.
Another young person with a gun brought police to a family's front door.
Do you need to explain where you got the guns?
They're not mine. They're not mine. I got them off the streets. What else do you want to know? I got them off the streets.
The following year after this interview, a judge sentenced Jonah to 30 years in prison.
I mean, something needs to get done because it keeps going and going, and it's getting worse and worse.
Thank you.
The numbers dropped for the first time this most recent fiscal year since the start of the pandemic, but not by much. Instead of 172 kids arrested for homicide and manslaughter, it was 169.